Welcome back to Mr. Orr's Flip Class for Grammar featuring sentence patterns. Today we'll look at sentence pattern number 8. Again, you'll have your notes page where you'll take in the definitions, some comments about the patterns and how to do that. Then you'll do some fill-in-the-blank scaffolding before you create patterns of your examples of your own using this pattern. Let's go ahead and look at the slides. All right, so this is sentence pattern number 8. This is about dependent clauses in a pair or in a series. The value of this is where you want to really make a point by intentionally using some parallel structure. You want to have dependent clauses. It might be multiple if statements or multiple when statements or multiple that statements that allow you to really bring a lead to or develop a point in one sentence as opposed to making it an entire paragraph. Again, the advantage of doing this in one sentence is that when you're doing parallel structure, it really helps and develops and builds. If you do the same sentence structure in 3 or 4 sentences in a row, then it can become, well, the opposite of variation and interest for your reader. Some definitions. Again, dependent clause. This is a subject-verb pairing which cannot be used by itself and must be joined to an independent clause. Most often, this is going to begin with a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. Again, a subordinating conjunction is a joining word which must be followed by a clause. Some examples are because, if, since. Relative pronouns. It's the use of the word that or a W word. That's one of your who, what, when, where, why, how, for example. That's used in a declarative sentence, and not a question. A declarative sentence to join a new clause to an existing one. It adds detail to or describes something in particular in a way that requires a verb, not just an adjective or adverb. Those are your definitions. The pattern itself for pattern 8 is an if statement, then a subject verb. So that subject verb, when it's listed here, is going to represent the independent clause. Or when, or whoever. Also can have subject verb, that. Again, the ... here, the ellipsis, represents a subject verb as well. It's a dependent clause. So this could be 2 or 3 dependent clauses. It could be only 2. And if it's 2, it's possible you don't have to use that extra comma in there to separate those 2 dependent clauses. If you're using 3, you definitely want to have all 3 of those. So it could be 2 or 3. It could be a pair or 3. Rarely would you go beyond 3 in terms of creating a complex list. Again, coordinating conjunctions can be used in the theories. It's up to you if you want to have a fanboys to join these 3. You could use it so that you have, if statement and, if statement and, if statement and, then. So you could use the fanboys to replace the commas if you want to. You could do comma, fanboys, comma, or continue on there with that. So you could use it where the fanboys takes its traditional place between the second and third item and 3 in a series, for example. So the example sentences you see here are, if you want to be successful, if you want to build your skills, if you want to grow your knowledge, then join debate club. So if you look at those examples, you have if, the subject is you and then want, and then you actually have an infinitive verb after that with some kind of object to finish it. If you want to, verb, finish. If you want to, verb, finish. If you want to, verb, finish, comma, then. So the example of this first iteration. This second example represents this third bullet here. Jess didn't want to admit to herself that her friends were right, comma, that her family was right, comma, or that she was wrong. So we have subject verb Jess didn't want. So we have that full sentence there, to admit to herself. And you have that, subject, verb, finish. That, subject, verb, finish. Fanboys, that, subject, verb, finish. Those are your examples from the slides. Looking back at your notes and your work here. So in these 3 sentences, you've got some blanks to fill in sentence example A. If your teacher says to read it twice, and then if you need to add something that finishes it, so something similar to your teacher says to read it twice. So it should be something where it has subject, verb, finish after each of these two ifs, and then the finish statement. You don't have to have the then, but you could. Second example, be whether you think. So it's whatever you think. And this is probably going to be a that sentence, or it could be a whenever sentence. And then you have to have some kind of finish. Again, this is your subject, and you need to have a verb here. C, subject. You need to have some kind of relative. Maybe it's that. To begin with, the new puppy that, or the new puppy verb, because blank and because blank. So the because creates that subordinate conjunction. This is a little bit trickier. Take your time. Definitely a good opportunity to go ahead and do what you think is best. Give it your best shot and ask for feedback from your teacher as you do one of these patterns at a time. Go to it.